Hello, and welcome to the Pigeon's Passage, the blog of the Lakeshore Grounds Interpretive Center. My name is Ben Mitchell, and I'm an assistant curator here at the grounds, and today I'll be talking to you about one of our artifacts, a radiator from the Lakeshore Psychiatric Hospital. Now, the hospital's dates are roughly from the 1890s to 1979, and this radiator came from G building, or what was the administrative building of the hospital. Now, we don't have many artifacts right now directly associated with our site, so it means we have to spend a lot of time really working with what we have. And when I came to this position, I didn't know anything really about the history of radiators or steam heating, and particularly not the history of them as they relate to psychiatric hospitals. So very naively, I came to it with just looking at the artifact. What did I think it had to tell me? There were some numbers along the grill on the side, and there was this little bob thing beside the radiator that had 1950 on it. And I thought, well, that makes my job hopefully easier. It seems like this radiator was roughly made around 1950s, and I can kind of structure my search there to try to tease out more of the information that is kind of encoded in this artifact. So I did a little bit more research, looked around in the literature, looked around online, and in doing so I came across this forum called heatinghelp.com, and specifically a subforum of them called Strictly Steam. I just asked around, posted up some images of our radiator, and asked for help. And the people on that forum were incredibly helpful, and luckily for me, because I was grievously wrong about the dating of that artifact, or even like what it was. That it wasn't made in 1950, that in fact that bob beside the radiator was a steam trap, and they had a different manufacturer than the radiator itself. So in fact that model number wouldn't necessarily tell me nearly what I had thought it would tell me about the date even of the steam trap. So that if I really wanted to look into it, I'd have to open up the steam trap myself and look inside, and it might have more information about dating the steam trap in it. And in fact, that's something we'll hope to do for a later project, showing you us opening up that steam trap to try to find out more information about it. Also, the people on the forum were able to tell me that this model of radiator probably had wider grill to make it easier to clean. This was in fact a very common feature for hospital radiators because particular messes happen there. They're institutional sites. Ease of cleaning is a big deal there. And I really thought that was kind of a cool kind of added texture or feature of the story of this artifact that I wouldn't have been able to find necessarily on myself without talking to these enthusiasts on this forum. And I think this really highlights for me the importance of community engagement and involvement in the curating of objects in collections, because professional historians like myself, we might be experts in some things, but by definition, we're not experts in everything. And that makes engagement with our communities all that much more important, because there's a whole bunch of different people who are interested in history, who have a stake in history, who are interested in different kinds of artifacts that you wouldn't even expect. I didn't know there was a radiator fandom, for instance, but there is, and it's quite active in some areas. And it was incredibly fortunate for me that there is such a thing. And it's another reason why I'm quite excited about when our exhibit opens in January, where we'll be inviting members of the community to come in and share their stories of the Lakeshore Psychiatric Hospital. Because this is a community project, and I hope to extend that more as we continue on in the Pigeon's Passage. So thank you very much for listening. Again, this is the Pigeon's Passage of the Lakeshore Grounds Interpretive Center, and I hope you have a lovely day. Cheers.